Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Alpha Radagast playing the Puerto Rico in an ICOP clan battle. And because life has been keeping me exceptionally busy, I did not have an opportunity to get to this before the recent update. So I just recorded it, didn't even watch it, and now I'm getting a chance to look at it as we watch this replay together. Um, you will notice that I had to go in and click a few boxes. That's because there's a new bug introduced in update 10.5, and those settings, which stay that way in the game without any problem, are kind of automatically reset to be unchecked when you're doing any kind of replay, when you're watching a replay. So I have to manually go in and check those two boxes and tell it that I want the full information about the ships every time I run a replay, which is, it's disappointing. I posted about it on the warships forums. Never did get a response. I don't know that anybody's even looking at it or if Wargaming even care. Um, I have to say it just seems like, and I know I'm not the only one saying this, and I kind of hate to jump on this bandwagon, but it does seem as though Wargaming is much more concerned with the short-term profit of gimmicky ships than taking care of bugs like this, or the new torpedo bug, or introducing new maps, or in fact worrying about balance. And that is so disappointing because we went through the better part of a year, and I guess some could even argue that we're still going through it. The issues that came about as a result of the carrier rework. Uh, if you were playing during that time, you know that it kind of whipsawed from one end of the spectrum to the other, with carriers terribly overpowered and then unable to do anything, and back and forth as they kind of move toward what we have now, which arguably is still nice shot. Holy cow! That was a really good shot, Alf. Way to start the game. 30,000 plus damage in the first salvo. Um, so, you know, um, Wargaming have their issues, but for the first time, at least for me, for the first time, I'm really openly skeptical about kind of where they're going with things. I until now always left room for the possibility and had the hope that they had certain things on the calendar that they were going to accomplish, and they were going to accomplish those things and then maybe spend a little time working on game balance, etc. But we've seen ship after ship come into the game that kind of unbalanced things. Probably, at least to my mind anyway, a great example of that is Smolensk. Smolensk was so overpowered on release, at least in my opinion. They changed global mechanics to address that, and then kind of took it out of the game. And cruisers in general kind of all got a nerf as a result of what they did, I think, to try to control Smolensk. And other people have talked about that at length, and so I won't get into all that here. But uh, so these most recent things, the introduction of the torpedo bug in particular, as somebody who plays destroyers a lot, I really haven't played destroyers since becoming aware of the bug, because I find it so irritating that the days keep clicking by and Wargaming, other than one forum post that said, and this was from a guy that he doesn't even work for Wargaming anymore, a guy that said, yeah, Wargaming is aware of this issue and they're working on it. There's been no word about it at all, and I'm just kind of concerned that what may end up happening is that they just don't worry about it, which is kind of how it feels. Anyway, I guess that's enough about that. Back to this game, you can see that neither team has lost a ship at this point. The bad guys have managed to secure, wow, another good shot. The bad guys have managed to secure 2 caps, and that's giving them some extra points, but they do lose the gearing there. I have to say, it looks to me like Papa is in trouble. You can see he's located out there at, Delta 7? And he's got a GK and a Hindi pushing him. He's angled well, but I'm sure the GK secondaries are just lighting him up. And it's just a question of time until those main guns come into action. And well, we'll see. And Alf blaps what's left of the Hindenburg. Bad guys are now down 2 ships. And Reeder's out there contending with the Hindi on the other side of the map. The GK does take care of Papa in his Des Moines. The Hindi does blap Reeder in his Shima. And that leaves 2 red ships out on that flank, who, if they push north and come a little bit center, will have the broadside of, well, basically the entire ICOP team. You can see Squid Pence out on the flank trying to get some angles, but although he's protected against those broadside shots I was talking about. Nice shot, Joe. He does manage to, I'm guessing, burn down the Moskva and then finish him with shells. But Joe's position doesn't allow him the opportunity to get much in the way of broadsides, at least not now. Squid's come about. He's heading southward now. And I think repositioning is a really good idea. Segaby's going to probably be forced behind that little island that he's next to, and then he'll have to decide whether he's going to focus on the guys that are coming across the map or the guys that are south of his position. So he's going to have some protection from the GK in the form of that island. I'm guessing he's probably going to focus on the guys down south for a while. Meanwhile, Alf is laying it onto the Yamato, sticking with the AP, which hits very hard. Some chip damage on the Yamato. And Alf's got to be careful here. Those first shells really hurt. He's aiming for the Kurfürst himself. Joe's backing up, and that's kind of putting him in jeopardy. The GK, if the GK spots him there and can get shots off, Joe, apparently aware of that, has started moving south. But down to 9,000 HP. I think Joe's probably in trouble here. Nice shot, Alf. Joe down to 8,500 hit points. Segaby's moving to engage the GK. And Wooz is, well, he's not able to do a lot because of that island. The GK has positioned himself pretty well there. But Alf is able to get basically broadside AP shots on the Kurfürst. This AP really hits hard. So there's almost 10K. GK will turn in here, keep the island between himself and Wooz. Alf activates the heal. Now he's got to decide whether he's going to focus on that Hindi Kurfürst does go down to shells from Segeby. And this one's all over but the shouting. Good guys now have a points lead. They've got a commanding ship lead. And they're going to be in this cap here in just a few more seconds. Harugumo sitting in his smoke there. He's lit up for now, but it won't be long, and there'll be some torpedoes headed this way. Yamato goes down to fire from Joe. Nicely done, Joe. And Hindi is showing a little too much side. Alpha is liable to really punish that hard. Turns back this way, but still takes over 10,000 damage. And Segeby is in position to capitalize on his turn back this direction. That only leaves the Harugumo, and he's not long for this world. Alpha's going to get this cap. And this one's going in the W column for ICOP. Well done, gentlemen. Really a good game. There are the torpedoes. And there's probably a second set. There it is. Alpha doesn't overturn and get himself where he eats torpedoes in the nose. Since this is going to end rather abruptly, I have a feeling, I'm just going to say, Alf, thanks very much for sending this in. It was fun to watch. The rest of the ICOP team and Alf, really great game. Good job. If I remember correctly, you guys you won 3 in a row that night. So congrats on that. Those of you joining me, I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't tried Clan Battles, I recommend it. It's fun. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider liking and subscribing. And I'll see you next time.